What's good? It's your boy Jay. That's me. Let's dive into TNA Impact from May the 2nd, 2024. An okay show. This was the go home show to Under Siege. And we will go over the predictions for Under Siege. So TNA was okay. This was like a run-of-the-mill type of show, if we're being honest. So we kicked the show off with the first match of the night. Mustafa Ali defeated Chris Bay in a very solid match. So, towards the end of the match, Mustafa Ali's security guards distracted the referee. Then a flag shot from one of the guys who's aligned with Mustafa Ali. And then that allowed for him to hit the 450 splash for the 1, 2, 3. So this is fine. I'm a fan of both guys. I like what TNA is doing with Mustafa Ali. Chris Bay, not so much. Chris Bay's been in a holding pattern. Same thing with Ace Austin. I think those guys would fare a lot better in NXT because they're young. I think Chris Bay is like, I want to say between 25 to 28. Same thing with Ace Austin. If not, he's probably in his early 30s, like between 30 and 32. But I think both of those guys would be better off in NXT. TNA just doesn't really care about Ace and Bay because lately they've been trying to break them up, which would be a dumb idea. But I really hope that they decide to go to NXT whenever their contracts expire with TNA. But the match was solid, though. A really good, solid TV match. Again, I'm a fan of both guys. I love what both guys are doing. Moving on. Dani Luna was defeated by Alicia Edwards via the help of Masha Slamovich. So Masha came in towards the end of the match. Alicia Edwards did a distraction, and this allowed for Masha to hit a kick into the plow, and then Alicia pinned Dani Luna for the 1, 2, 3. Who cares about this shit? This is a waste of time. I feel bad for Masha Slamovich. Masha Slamovich deserves better. She could be the new number 1 contender to Jordynne Grace. At least that could serve as a way to test Jordynne Grace, because she hasn't been tested in a while. And at least you can have a good little mini feud involving Masha Slamovich and Jordynne Grace. But I am not a fan of the system at all, and I don't really care about this stuff. I just don't. Masha deserves better. Moving on. So Sami Callihan, he now has a new television show called Death Machine TV. And that's all he just talked about. I mean, he didn't say much of anything. That's what his new show is going to be called. Again, this is not important. This is a waste of time. This is so stupid. Next, Hammerstone, he defeated Diener. Diener ended up getting on the mic, and he baited Hammerstone into a street fight, basically. So, well, actually, it was a Sin City street fight, so it doesn't matter. Same thing, same principle. Hammerstone wins via the torture lock. There's one point in the match where Diener was able to get a scoop slam on Hammerstone, and that pissed me the fuck off. Thankfully, Hammerstone decimated Diener, but he could have done all this stuff literally in about 10 minutes. This thing went on for close to 15 minutes. And again, I don't understand why TNA is still pushing Diener. It's time for guys like Diener, Eric Young, Frankie Kazarian, Josh Alexander, Moose, and some of the others just to go away and either be backstage producers or coaches or just like release them, because it's just time for a change for TNA. My biggest gripe with TNA is the roster. The storylines and stuff are good, but it's just that damn roster that I just don't like. There are talented guys on the roster like Ace Austin, Trey Miguel, Chris Bay, Joe Hendry, AJ Francis, Rich Swann. You know, there are guys on the show that I like, but I'm just like, come on, we gotta do better. I don't know, man. I really don't know. Moving on. So, Jonathan Gresham, he returned. So, Santino welcomes Jonathan Gresham back to TNA Impact. And he's going to be having a match against Kushida at Under Siege. So, the two of them shake hands. And then when they shake hands, Santino goes into the bathroom, washes his hand, and he discovers a mysterious ink mark. So, this is fine. I like this. I'm interested in seeing where this goes. Hopefully, this will be on the main show, on the main card, and not on the pre-show. So I'm interested in seeing what TNA is going to actually do with Jonathan Gresham. Jonathan Gresham is a good talent. His only issue is just his size, but he's still a good talent nonetheless. I could easily see him being X Division champion sometime in the near future if Mustafa Ali doesn't stick around. But I think Mustafa Ali is going to stick around. I really do. I think he'll just work the Indies, TNA, and probably New Japan, and maybe a couple shows for GCW and MLW, stuff like that. But I think he's probably going to mainly stick in between TNA and New Japan, that being Mustafa Ali. But I'm definitely interested in Jonathan Gresham. I've liked what they've done with him these past, I think, 4 weeks now. So they've really built him up, and I like it. You know, I'm very intrigued to see what happens. Moving on. So Joe Hendry, he comes out next. So Top Dollar, AJ Francis and his crew, they're in the skybox. And Joe Hendry was supposed to make an apology song. So he opened up with an acoustic rendition of his Cheez-It song, which was great. The crowd loved it. And then he did another acoustic version of his Banned from Driving. Banned from Diving, which is great. The fans love that. And then the final song was Can You Please Get Fired? That was great. I loved it. This was beautifully done. The crowd loved it. Joe Hendry, man, actually deserves better. Joe Hendry, I've said this for months on end, and it's in the archives. Joe Hendry could be a really solid main event guy. I think he's over enough. I would love to see him be in the X Division. I think he would be great as X Division champ, and then he could easily transition into the world title picture. I mean, I get what he's doing is low mid-card stuff, but Joe Hendry, man, he's over. He's got charisma. He's good on the mic. And he's a solid in-ring worker. And I don't understand why TNA constantly has him in these low, mid-card, bottom of the card type feuds. I just don't understand it. Joe Hendry is money. He's money. He's actually a guy that you can build the company around. Him, Jake something, Steve Macklin to an extent, Hammerstone. You know, those are guys that you can build your company around for sure. But I don't know. But this is fine. It didn't lead to anything. It didn't. So I don't know what's the end goal with this feud, but it has to end at some point. Maybe it ends at Slammiversary, but I'm really gonna go another 2.5 months with, you know, Joe Hendry and AJ Francis. That would make no sense. You might as well just go ahead and do the payoff on television, or at least wait till the next TNA Plus event in June. So I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Moving on. So Ace Austin, he defeated Trey Miguel. So he's going to be the new number one contender, and he's going to take on Mustafa Ali for the X Division Championship. So that's fine. Good little match, though. Moving on. So Josh Alexander and Frankie Kazarian, they took the TNA Impact to set the record straight about their adversities. Frankie Kazarian and Steve Macklin ahead of Under Siege. So I'm guessing they're going to do like a fatal four-way, I guess. The winner's going to be the new number one contender, which is stupid. So that's probably what they're going to end up go with. I think it's Steve Macklin, Eric Young, Josh Alexander, and Frankie Kazarian. I don't give one single fuck about this. No fucks given. This is lame. Absolutely lame. Moving on. So Ash by Elegance, she showed up in the main event. She was introduced by her personal concierge. I forget the guy's name, but he's been doing a great job with Ash by Elegance. I love Ash by Elegance. I'm still going to stick with the prediction that she'll probably be the one to dethrone Jordynne Grace by either Slammiversary or Bound for Glory. Preferably Slammiversary, since that's their version of SummerSlam. But moving on. So the main event was Miyu Yamashita versus Jordynne Grace. So Yamashita, she spent some time in AEW. I think she was mainly on, I want to say, Dark. She was on a couple of Dynamites, and she may have been on maybe a Collision or two. I doubt it. But I'm going to say she was basically really just on the AEW Dark side. She, did some stuff for Dynamite every so often. So Jordynne Grace retains. Jordynne Grace wins via the Juggernaut Driver, which is fine. So I guess Yamashita just showed up just to work a couple of tapings. And I guess she's back to stardom or what have you. So, I mean, that's fine. It is what it is. Not really all that important. Pretty good little work rate main event match. But Joe Hendry was the highlight of the show for me. There's also one part in the show where we see Nick Nemeth. He's getting his neck checked on by the doctor. And so Matt Hardy walks in, and he's going to take Nick's place in the 6-man tag. And that'll probably be the main event of Under Siege. So that should be fine. Speaking of Matt Hardy, he cut a promo. So he cut a promo, just saying that him and Trent Seven and people like Mike Bailey, they're going to come after the system and they're going to delete the system. So that was all that occurred. So that's fine. Moving on from that, let's get into the predictions. Overall, TNA was okay. The main highlight of the show for me was Joe Hendry. Everything else on the show felt kind of not that important. Under Siege is just another TNA Plus event they have to get through before we get to Slammiversary. So it's not really all that important. Let's go ahead and get into the predictions for Under Siege. So, 8 matches on the card. Actually, no. I think it's going to be 10 on the card. 2 on the pre-show and 8 altogether. That's usually what TNA does. So let's start with the pre-show first real quick. Actually, there's 3 pre-show matches. That's crazy. Wow. So, Ash by Elegance, she's going to take on Havoc. So, my prediction is that Ash will win. Joe Hendry is going to take on Zachary Wentz. Hopefully, Joe Hendry gets a W there. And then the FBI, which is Guido, Zach Clayton, and Ray Jazz. They're going to take on a team to be announced. I don't know who it could be. I don't know. So, there's that. On to the main card. Jonathan Gresham versus Kushida. Jonathan Gresham, why wouldn't he win this? He just came back, really. They've been giving him some really cool vignettes as of late. We got 4 really good vignettes. And I think this time TNA is going to push Jonathan Gresham. I really do. So why wouldn't he win? Moving on. Jordan Grace and PCO versus Step Delander and Khan. Mixed tag. Not really all that concerned about it. I don't really care about it. I'm pretty sure Jordan Grace and PCO are going to win. Like, why wouldn't they? Again, I still think they're going to go with Ash by Elegance and Jordan Grace at Rebellion. Wait, my bad. At Slammiversary. Moving on. Josh Alexander and Eric Young, they're going to be in a tag match against Frankie Kazarian and Steve Macklin. I don't give a damn about this at all. I could care less. Josh Alexander and Eric Young are probably going to end up winning. I don't give a fuck. Moving on. Spitfire, Danny Luna and Jody Threat versus Alicia Edwards and Masha Slamovich for the Knockouts World Tag Team Championships. They're probably going to end up giving it to Alicia Edwards and Masha Slamovich simply just to push the system. Again, I don't see the system actually falling apart completely until Bound for Glory. So we have like another 5 months of this shit. So, yeah. Moving on. A match that I'm looking forward to. Hammerstone versus Jake Something. I like both guys. I'm a fan of both guys. Who needs this more, though? Hammerstone. Hammerstone needs this more. Jake Something is a guy who should really actually be in NXT for about a good 6 months to a year. And then you can send them up to the main roster. But Hammerstone definitely needs to win more after his loss to Josh Alexander, which still fucking pisses me off. Moving on, Mustafa Ali versus Ace Austin for the TNA X Division Championship. Mustafa Ali is going to retain. Why would he lose? And I think going into Slammiversary, they're probably going to set up a feud between Mike Santana and Mustafa Ali. So that would be fine. The main event, which is a 6-man tag, Matt Hardy, Trent Seven, Speedball Mike Bailey versus The System. Moose, Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers. I don't give a damn about this either. Matt Hardy and company are going to win. Who cares? So, Under Siege should be okay. I doubt if there'll be any surprises or anything like that. There might be. Who knows? But I'm not all that excited for it. But what did you guys think of TNA? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.